Doors and Pressure, two games that I've played on this channel, and since I have a lot of hours in these games, maybe one more than the other, I think I could say that both games are very good, but one is better by a small margin. Since the update for both of these games are coming out pretty soon, this is what I'm going to answer in this video. Which game is better? Pressure or Doors? To find out which one is better, we're going to go through a couple categories and find out which game excels in each one. Let's get started. In both Doors and Pressure, both games have the gameplay loop of walking through randomly generated rooms and maybe encounter a creepy smile face or anglerfish while running.
I don't even understand what happened. I think a Doors entity might have attacked.
But something that Doors excels in this aspect more than Pressure is the milestone events. What do I mean by this? Well, let me lay it out for you. In Floor 1, you can encounter guaranteed events like the Seek Chase at around door 25 to 30, the Figure Room at door 50, Jeff's Shop around 3 to 5 rooms later, the Big Base Room that contains the entrance to the rooms, the Infirmary at around door 65 to 68, the second Seek Chase at around door 70 to 75, and the Greenhouse at door 90, along with the final room, 100. But in Floor 2, there's even more guaranteed events, but I would be here for a lot longer than necessary, but I'll be putting some up on screen. But in Pressure, there's only 4. The Sebastian Shop, the first Searchlight encounter at around door 55 to 70, the Ridge at door 100, which is this game's version of the Greenhouse from Doors, and the final room at door 115. See where I'm getting at? There's not a good satisfying loop due to the lack of guaranteed milestone events. Sure, there's things like rare rooms, turrets, etc., but they aren't guaranteed in certain rooms. They just happen randomly. In Doors, the rooms such as the Figure Room, Seek's Chase, the Grumble Nest in Floor 2, make the loop of walking through randomly generated rooms more refreshing. Because let's be real, walking through 100 randomly generated rooms with spooky monsters with nothing else would get really boring. So I do wish in the next Pressure update, they add a few more milestone events to make the gameplay loop more satisfying. But these games are horror games, so they should excel at this the most, making the player more scared or at ease. And I think Pressure does this aspect way better than Doors. Comparing the entities in both these games, it's obvious which ones are scarier. Like those angler variants compared to Russian Ambush, it's like not even close, along with the other entities. But I'll give Doors this, the entities themselves aren't really that scary, but the gimmicks do, such as the unpredictability of Giggles and Dread's room mechanic. Okay, the thing about comparing the environments of these two games is I would have given this point to Doors. Its environments, even Prior Hotel, compared to Pressure, were very good. The mines being the best example of the talent Elsplash and the team have. They're very eerie and give you a sense of unease that isn't present in the hotel, other than the Greenhouse. I do like how after door 150, it alternates from a mine shaft and a sewer complex. Very good. But I still like the environments in Pressure, and that's all thanks to... When I saw this expansion added, I was so into this part of the game than Doors. Pressure's base game does have pretty good environments, but they weren't really for me. The Hunted/Outskirts is a lot more run down than the Hideo Black site, and very intimidating, like how Floor 2 felt, but even more. So I give this to Pressure. Good job, guys. Story is the most important part of any pieces of media, so it should be the strongest aspect. And this is the most praised thing about Pressure, the lore and story. But for me, I prefer Doors' storytelling. And yes, there is lore to the entities in the game, but it isn't directly told to you like in Pressure with its documents, which is a really cool take on Guiding Light's mechanic. But this is the difference between these games' way of telling a story. Pressure has direct storytelling with the documents, telling you about the Urban Shade facility and the entities surrounding it. But I dig more with Doors' storytelling. How maybe this place is actually in limbo based off of that statue in the courtyard, the flesh figure theory, how Seek is a creature who wants to consume everything in its wake, the text in the Crucifix Residual about the 3 architects, and how screeches are just infected Giggles from Seek's goop. This isn't told to you, but it is shown, but not in a way that's so cryptic that you have to look around for it and it's really hard to find. No. It's just there. And YouTubers like Cheddarballs make some really cool theories on the game. In Pressure, the story is just told to you one and done. Granted, it's a very interesting story, but after finding all the documents, there's nothing else to theorize on like in Doors. If you like the storytelling in Pressure, by all means, it's your opinion. This is my opinion, honestly. Hence why Doors gets this point. I like the indirect storytelling rather than direct storytelling. This is going to be the more hotter takes throughout this video, but I think the Doors OST is way better than the Pressure's.
You what?
Hey, don't click off. Let me explain. This is not me saying that the OST in Pressure is bad. The complete opposite, actually. It's pretty good. My favorite ones being that one mini game song. very intense and thrilling while you're getting attacked by him. Along with that one randomized song that plays at the beginning, "The Walls Are Painted with Blood," really sets in the mood that the journey to the crystal is the dangerous one and there's no turning back. But with all that said, I still think Doors has a better OST. Why? Well, Doors' OST goes for a more atmospheric feel to it. The songs really fit the mood of your current situation. Like Ready to Rumble starts the mood off with, "What the hell do I do?" building up to a, "Okay, I got this." And the epic climax of "Oh Damn," very intense for a final boss and very echoey for being in the sewer dam. But I'm gonna be blunt here. Pressure doesn't have songs like this other than the Pandemonium songs and The Ridge. But what about... Yeah, what about it? Search Party is so overrated. I don't find this amazing. It's just fine for me. But this song is just War Without Reason, but just a little bit different, but not a complete copy. While Oh Damn from Doors is solely original, so Doors has the overall better soundtrack. But by all means, Pressure's OST is still good. Difficulty is something that I think you all know who get this point for. It's Pressure! Who the hell just said that? Yes, if you watch some of my videos on Doors, I made the game really hard with modifiers. But Pressure doesn't have those, so we're just gonna compare the plain vanilla Pressure and Doors. So yeah, Pressure gets this point, obviously. The reason isn't the entity spam. It's that alone, the entities are pretty tough to deal with. But when you have a bunch of them in a room, like Chainsmoker and Infestation, it's a bit harder. While Doors' entities are just easier by themselves, but are challenging when combined. So overall, Pressure has the high ground in terms of difficulty. Alright, we have one more category to go over, and it isn't really what you expect someone to mention. These two games have ways to revive after dying, and I think that's cool, but one does it the best, and it's Doors. The reasoning is that L-Splash knew how to make revives feel worth it. In both Floor 1 and 2, they have similar endgames. The last 10 rooms are much harder than the previous 80. The greenhouse having every room being dark, meaning Screech and Rush can spawn, along with snares, dupe, and eyes. And rooms 190 to 200 is where the entities stack a lot, making for a challenging endgame. And the reason why I'm mentioning these things is that you cannot revive during this point. And that's what Doors does better than Pressure. You cannot revive during this point whatsoever. But in Pressure, you can. Yes, even during the Ridge, the harder greenhouse equivalent, which really ruins the risk of losing progress. Although I do really like how you can buy revives with in-game currency instead of Robux, which is something I wish Doors had. But since you can't revive during the endgame of Doors, it gives me, I don't want to say it, but it gives you more pressure to not die. And that's a good thing. There has to be risk when it comes to revives, and Doors does that the best. So, by 1 point, Doors is the winner. But even with that said, I still love both of these games. They are really good. I pointed out their weaknesses and strengths, but Doors has the advantage of doing revives right that makes the game a little bit better. But Pressure is still worth your while, as much as Doors is to me. But yeah, I just prefer Doors over Pressure. Anyways, that's all I got for you, so I'll see you in the next video.
Stop chewing so out, bro. Leave that little guy alone. What the f*** is you gonna do if I don't?